Thank you. Oh, we're recording. Yeah, but there it is.
But yeah, I went for a walk around Grimwith. Grimwith was
Right, yeah.
near Grassy, on the other side of Grassy.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
was going to go somewhere else, but the car park's chock of block.
yeah.
Big car park there.
You've got to know where to go, haven't you? Put yourself.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, what a day. I mean, it gives you the sense of possibility, doesn't it? You think that it can't be this grim all the time. Oh, actually, this is all right. I think it's been brought down. I think we might as well get on because, sorry, Judy. Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody, let's make a start. Welcome to this AGM for Gib Hill Guardians. We're being recorded, and there's, of course, a Zoom link. I don't know if anyone's attending virtually, but hello to you as well. So we've got everyone, I think, has an agenda. We're going to get through most of the business. There's a few items of any other business at the end, which may spark some debate. I'm not sure. So can we start with apologies for absence, please? Has anyone got an apology for absence?
I've got Paul Dugdale, Mary Stone, Patricia Hannahwood, and Mark Chung.
Okay, thank you.
And there's some agendas and things over here if you haven't got one.
Okay. Right, is that everything? Has everyone got what they need? Yeah. Okay, let's start with the minutes of the last AGM from January 2025. Can we accept those as a true record? Yeah, I don't propose to go through them item by item. Okay, fine, thanks. Yeah. So any matters arising from those minutes, please? Okay, saying that's none. So let's move on to the last trustees meeting from 7th of October. There's a little bit more in these minutes. Okay, so we're accepting those as correct. Thank you, Sarah. Excellent. So matters arising from these minutes. Okay, I'll start on page 1, obviously. So item 3, 4, no, okay, 5, 6, 7.
It would be great. It would be great if Chris could give us a sort of run through of all of these works that are described here and how they all went, because not everybody knows. Yeah. You're not all on our little group chat.
I've got that under item 6.
Oh, okay.
I can do it now. It's not a problem.
I've struggled, to be honest. I've been out of work quite a while. I'm getting my way back in since the first of the night. Yeah. Ask away, I'll find the question down.
I'm so sorry for throwing you under the bus there, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Any question?
Yeah, don't worry, they actually know the answer.
Well, we have an agenda item anyway, so we can cover that in a minute. It's not a problem. So, yeah, so we're okay with page 1. I won't chant numbers. So anything on page 2. Okay, I'm taking that. So, sorry, go ahead.
Well, John Lamb is retiring.
Right.
And he's written a book. If anyone's interested, we should buy a copy.
Excellent.
And schools liaison, yeah. Is that an item on the?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so we did. Yeah, we did have a meeting later.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That was all I noticed.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just remind everyone to use the microphones because they won't be able to hear it.
Sorry, I should have pointed that out. Yeah. Yes, we all got our mics on. Sorry, Alison. Thank you for that. Yeah, he is indeed still in work. Yeah, but he's not far off. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so we all right with those minutes then? Any matters arising we've covered? So yeah, we're on item 6 now, which is the work since the last AGM, which is what we were talking about a second ago. Now I've got down that the access work referred to in item 3 of the minutes we just looked at took place in November, and basically that's 3 field entrances that were dug out according to different specifications in each case. I mean, one of them had to be very much different from the others, and also mowing in one of the lower fields, but not the other 2, which we decided to save for another date. And of course, tree planting, which especially took place in a few days ago, actually in March, and general maintenance. So all this work's ongoing. Does anyone have a specific comment or question about any of this work? Yeah, go ahead.
I think, when we were discussing it back at the end of last year, or in last autumn, there was a lot of uncertainty, wasn't there, in terms of, is this the best methodology? Is this the best sequence of events? Do we feel that we did choose the right methods in the end?
Well, it's a very good question. I'm going to throw that to the floor. I mean, is that a rhetorical question?
No, it's not a rhetorical question at all.
Where you put to get the tractors in looks very good. Excellent work on it down. It looks very natural as well. Oh, yes, it's really good job.
Yeah, I mean, this is anything we do is open to ongoing debate, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there is a definitive method which is in 4 bullet points that we will follow forever. So, yeah, we try it, see if it works. We keep going. But yeah, we've got a series of works that have been completed, but they're only just the start. And the planting, I mean, we got through. I'm not sure what proportion of the whips, Chris, we got through there, but there are a lot left, I expect. Yeah, so we need to think about what we can do with those and whether there's an opportunity to, use what we have in the woodland trip. Okay, so sorry. Oh, sorry, Alison, go ahead.
Use the microphone.
Yeah, is your microphone on, Alison? Oh, well, can you press the button? Yeah. Thanks. It's mainly for the recording.
That I would like to talk about, perhaps not in other business, but request a review where perhaps it might be advantageous to actually go through the levels of protection, where the law is on this, and how we should be interpreting different levels of protection on Gib Hill.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's an excellent suggestion. And can I just speak to Alison's point first? And yeah, and in fact, it ties in with something I was going to bring up under any other business, which is that the management plan is due for review in, I think, January 2027. And therefore, this is an ideal opportunity in the next few months for us to formulate a position that we can bring to that and influence the development of the management plan. That would be my, short answer to that. Sorry, anyone want to follow up on Alison's point before we bring in the next speaker? Okay, go ahead.
You still said some trees still left to plant. These are full plants, so they'll leave for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's not all they can be left anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need to, perhaps after the meeting, we can talk about how we're going to do this, how many we've got, and just get something together, because we can do it quite quickly, I think, but we don't want to waste them. Absolutely not. Thanks for that. Okay, right. So we know about the work that's ongoing. Funding bids. Right. I can report on these. It's fantastic that we got £5,000 from Cone Town Council from our last bid. So that's gone into the pot for the ongoing work, which I showed to the councillors in a presentation, I think, back in November, I think. There's a second bid for the same amount ongoing with Nelson Town Council, and I haven't heard back from them yet. We need to chase it up. I think there was a full council meeting of NTC last night.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone was there or has any further information. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Nick, yeah. Okay. So we have the 5,000, which is brilliant, from Cone Town Council. We're hoping for another 5. And that is where we are at the moment. I mean, when we come to the accounts, you can see what we have and, what we think about what we're going to do with it. Okay, so any other comments on funding bids or queries? Sorry, Sarah.
It's clear that Pendle Council has really chosen Gib Hill as like the #1 recipient ultimately. of biodiversity net gain. So in the years to come, as the massive housing target that we face in Pendle, which is 334 new houses a year, which will be built on greenfield land because there is a step for viability that actually negates brownfield building. So we have a de facto greenfield first policy in this government. I'm afraid we do. So we will be seeing lots of new housing estates in Pendle, and that is bad news for Pendle, but it's great news for Gib Hill because, of course, the biodiversity net gain payments will be funneled our way and should be significant.
Perhaps I'm asking the wrong question, but is the ongoing status of Pendle Council a factor here, that there might be unitary very soon?
I mean, it is and it isn't. So I don't wish to go on, but Pendle Council has a new local plan, and the new local plan was made in January. So you're thinking, oh, great, it's bang up to date. But it was made on the Conservative government's housing methodology, which is based on transport links and jobs and population growth. The Labour government has a methodology which is based on the number of houses you have now times 0.8. And that is a very sort of crude thing, which means it sort of spreads the houses around the shires. They've removed something called the urban uplift, which leads to houses in London, Manchester, Leeds. They've all seen decreases in their housing numbers. And all the places that are just like us, we've got these massive targets. Burnley's even worse, actually. So now the Pendle plan is already out of date. They've been told that they have to make another plan. Realistically, I mean, these plans cost about £600,000. So realistically, it'll take at least 30 months to make this plan. And it's quite likely that Pendle Council will be abolished before the plan is made. So then you're in the position that you're in a unitary authority. We don't hear which borough councils we're linked up with until June. So we don't know whether we're going to be in a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, or a 1 in Lancashire. I think the 1 is the least likely. But then there'll be a kind of ground zero day when the new unitary will look at its existing plans and will have a sort of an agglomerate target. So obviously we'll be in with Burnley, as I've just told you. Burnley's even worse than we are in terms of housing target.
So as far as we're concerned with the LNR, we are likely to, in a strange way, benefit from this because of the priority we'll have as for BNG.
Well, yeah.
That's where I'm going with that. Rather, I mean, I appreciate the complexities and nuances of the discussion about government policy and housing priorities are probably beyond the scope of us right now.
But they're a threat.
Yeah, unquestionably an issue. So we've got to keep our eyes out. We don't know what's going to happen, who's going to get elected.
It could be enormous change. Just look at the news every single night. There's enormous change, isn't there? And there could be more change yet.
I think this is very important that regardless of the issue we're looking at, none of us can be complacent where we shouldn't be thinking this is perpetually a nature reserve, everything's great and it's never going to change. We can't have that mindset. Thank you for that. Right. Okay, so go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, we looked at other sources of funding. We looked at other sources of funding. There's just the Common Ground application that was rejected. That was not really appropriate. And then there's a Rewilding Innovation Fund, but that requires the area that you're applying for to be over 40 hectares. So it's a 40 hectares minimum site. So that would, if we got, it was extended to include the golf course, that might apply then.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting for the future, isn't it? But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and the only other, no, nothing's happening fast, obviously, but it's to be borne in mind. And it might have changed the criteria by then as well.
Yes, again, another reason to be vigilant.
Yeah. So, and then there's a lottery. You could go to a lottery bid, but that's about specific things.
So that there's a sort of series of potential pots we could look at,
Yeah,
but some of them are more, likely than others, lower hanging fruit.
yeah, yeah.
It's good. Thanks. Anything else about funding bits? Okay. Right. So finances and accounts, item 8. Andrew, can I ask you to speak about this one?
So these are for the year ending the 31st of March 2026. We started the year with just over £10,000 with the bank, which was the sum of the kind grants from Nelson and Cobham Town Councils. During the year, the only big expenditure was for the access improvements, £5,172. And we have, as Will's already mentioned, received another £5,000 from Cobham Town Council, which we're very grateful for. So the year closed with £9,821 in the bank.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Any questions?
Well, just a comment, really. I mean, I hope it will give us this 9,800 will give us leverage to bid for other sources of funding, because often they're matched, aren't they?
Yeah, and hopefully there's another 5,000 on the way from Nelson as well.
Yeah. I mean, we can keep that going. We'll be doing fantastic.
Well, Sarah, when is the council year end? Is it 31st of May?
I think,
March.
yeah.
Oh, it's March, is it? Oh,
The
Okay.
new financial year begins for some.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's the thing that's to note as well, that although Pendle Council's being abolished and LCC's being abolished, the town councils are not being abolished. So that's noteworthy.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, that's quite a healthy position, I think, compared to where we might have been a few years ago. Right. Excellent. So, item 9, annual returns charity commission. Just to report that was done on time and is recorded on their website, so it's public information that people can go and look at using our charity number to find us. There's also the annual report, which is a bit dry. I don't think it's worth circulating here, because it essentially says what we've already talked about, which is that this work was done at this time, and the access was done, the mowing was done, the maintenance, and the funding bids and so on. Yeah, so it's just a formal report, and the next one will be done for January 2027, I think. Am I right? That's because it's got to be 2 months before the end of our financial year, hasn't it? Yeah. That's right. Yeah, so we've got plenty of time for the next one, but it's just a sort of formality, really. I'm just recording that we did it and everything's okay. Okay, 10, schools liaison. Sarah, would you care to?
Well, this has been a bit like wading through treacle, truth be told. But I think we've got glimmers here. Unfortunately, our big year 9 day with Primmett last year, which was very detailed, was cancelled. And I think what I'll do is I'll start with them to try to be doing something like that in the summer term. Unfortunately, it was just the most biblically awful weather. It was just one of those things. I think we've really turned a corner with Fishermore. I know that I haven't, but you've had an extra meeting with him about hedges and access and his little bit that he's leasing from LCC that's adjacent to us. That's all really positive. They're using it for cross-country running. They're doing litter picking, so that's Fishermore. We definitely raised the sort of the Gib Hill agenda within their school. And then we've got Pendle Community College, who are now doing a sort of weekly litter pick, and they're engaging with it. So I do have more to do, in that we haven't yet got Primmett Academy fully on the hook. We nearly did. And I know there are other schools. Karen's here from Primmett Primary. That there is more to do, but we have at least got some schools engaged and accessing Gib Hill with their students and using it, and what's more, helping us with litter picking and so on.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. That's excellent developments there. I mean, I wanted to bring up the meeting with Mr. Dugdale and any other business, because it ramifies into interaction with another organisation. But Karen, anything to add about Primmett Primary?
So I was just saying, we've had, our head went on long-term sick, so any decisions were sort of all suspended. Anyways, now given his notice, so the standing head can sort of start making decisions. Spoke to Chris that you were going to liaise and try and get the children out there these next couple of weeks and get something planted. And we're going to start going up as well now, and just having a look around. I'm going to see if I can get Alison to help.
Super. Yeah, raise the kids' awareness.
Yeah.
The value of what they've got next to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Any other comments or quick questions about schools liaisons?
I think sort of seeding into the next item slightly is that I have sort of put pressure on the schools to share images with us. And of course, there's all the issue with safeguarding in children. And so far, I've not really succeeded. I'll keep on trying because we'd like to see these images on our website and on our social media. But it's best if the schools do them and then we can share them. So I will keep trying because, of course, they are doing these things. It would be great to have these images that we could share.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
We also had a meeting about the Miyawaki forest that's being planted next to the mugger at the school as well. That the company that's involved in that are contacting the schools and stuff as well. So hopefully that push will help as well. So they're going to be contacting them in the next few days.
That's right. Yeah, we were on a call about this just a day or two ago. I might as well deal with it now rather than under AOB. But yeah, we spoke to David Urry, who's an ecologist from an organisation called Rewild Yourself, and they're working with Mr. Dugdale from Fisher Moor, and I believe with the diocese as well. And they want to plant a Miyawaki forest on the field next to Fisher Moor, which is a very densely planted series of diverse local species. And the idea being it's self-sustaining within, I think, 3 years, if my notes from the meeting we had were correct. So that's where our schools liaison is beginning to impact on sort of more national bodies with interesting and very fruitful, I think, agendas, because one of the things that David mentioned was, as well as planting the forest with our help, I think they're also going to train facilitators. So part of this forest will be a space where training can take place, effectively a clearing, and the training will be to enable other people to facilitate workshops in turn. So there's a sort of cascading effect, which is perfect for our agenda for the LNR. I mean, we literally next door to that field, aren't we, when they're planning to plant that forest. And I think, David, you were sort of addressing the issue, weren't you, of the entrance to the LNR, which is near Fisher Moor, and how that could possibly be improved as part of this project?
Yes, yeah, when we had the site meeting with the headmaster, he did say he was in favour of us using the path that's developed from that side of Bycliffe Avenue Lane, or whatever it's called, to Gib Hill, which it crosses over the school land. So he was in favour of doing that. So I said we should well, I've asked him to include it in these consultations with the diocese and Lancashire County Council about improving this other land, which is and get them to approve of this access line rather than it just being him. But we'll see whether they will do any of the work. Remains to be seen. But we did put it down on one of our applications for funding that we wanted to improve that access. So we have got some money already allocated for it.
And should that forest be planted, which I'm sure it will, it would give us more leverage to get that done, I would think.
Yeah, and if they have a facility, they've got some facility. They're going to have some facility that's lined up with the equinox or the solstice or something. And of course, if you've got classes there, they'll be wanting to use Gib Hill for their research as well and their studies.
Perfect.
So it would be perfect to get that path.
Great. Okay, so that sounds all very promising. Okay, so can we move on to 11, social media? Oh, sorry, Sarah.
Just quick point, that at the moment the school is busing pupils to Salford every week for Forest School. So from a net zero perspective, just walking from the school as opposed to busing them to Salford. And of course, you'd achieve so much more because you're wasting time in a bus to Salford and back. So I think that's ideal.
Mr. Dugdale did express his frustration with that situation to us during the meeting. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay, sorry. So item 11, social media volunteers. I think we're fairly all right with that, aren't we? Does anyone have a comment about where we're going with the website, the Facebook, recruitment or engagement with volunteers? I'm happy with where we are, but
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's really good. We've got a plan to the month. That's still going on, is it? Oh,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, that's good.
Excellent.
That's good. The lady that's running Quarry Hill, Maureen Roberts, I think her name is, said I came over to Gib Hill to have a look at the new nature reserve, and it was all muddy. All the paths were muddy.
Yeah.
So I think we need a little note on the website saying, you know,
Paths are
you
muddy.
need to wear Wellingtons or suitable footwear.
It's fair enough because we sort of take that as read, but it's not obvious if you're not local. And
that's right.
Yeah.
On which part of the website do you think, David? Just sort of on the location.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something we need to get onto the site, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we're going to need to really engage with people to get this Miyawaki forest planted anyway, so that'll be a good pretext to sort of really get volunteers on board and bring them back in. Okay, so yeah, item 12, next steps. Now, we've already talked about the forest with David Urry and Bree Wild yourself. And there is the review of the management plan, which can either be under this item or any other business. But first, does anyone else have an item of next steps, what we're doing next? I have two, but we've covered one.
Well, I think perhaps the footpaths need addressing quite soon, in terms of what David's just mentioned about, the muddy footpaths, especially if we're trying to encourage the schools to use it more, because if they're taking a class of 30-35 kids up there, the muddy footpaths soon become swamps.
Could we allocate funding to this?
Yeah, well, I think perhaps we need to look at that. It's especially the diagonal footpath by the pylon, the top pylon there. At this time of year, it's basically liquid, really.
Yeah, because
that is a public right of way, so I don't know whether that's something that perhaps Tom Partridge,
this is
might
it.
be able, or Mark Chung might be able to.
Maybe we should talk to Mark, who's obviously a trustee and unfortunately can't make it tonight, but we could be a bit more proactive on this rather than hoping Tom, who's got a lot of work on, will be able to do it. We might be able to speed things along. And Sarah, then we'll get Alison's point. Sorry, go on.
Just to say that I know that Cone Town Council pays an enhanced sum for extra care of footpaths within Cone, and I don't think Nelson does. I can't speak certainly on that, but I don't think they do. Oh, do you know? No, I don't think they do. And if this path is in Nelson, it means it's in the bottom of the list for Tom Partridge. But if it's in Cone, it'll be high on the list. That's the way. That is the way it works.
It's actually the boundary between Nelson and
Oof. Yeah. So it's going to be one of those things that we have.
Push it a little bit into Cone, perhaps.
Do a bit
of
gerrymandering.
Tom Partridge at LCC. So we could have one of those situations that we often see here, where it's welcome to Yorkshire and it's all beautiful. It could be like that, except it's welcome to Cone. We can certainly mention the Cone side to him, and it's part of our deal, isn't it, Gina?
Well, I just hope the path doesn't sort of stop, run out.
It will. That's exactly it. It'll just be ending.
Right. Well, let's hope we can make progress all over the reserve. But yeah, we'll do what we can, especially with Mark. We can consult with him and see what we can get going. Right, Alison.
I agree with Andrew. The paths do need attention, and particularly the public footpath going through the woodland. It is very, very slippery.
That's the one parallel to the border of
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
on the Nelson side.
Yeah.
There are trees that are sticking out quite dangerously that were going to be moved and haven't been moved. I've had a go at shifting some of them.
So do you think there's this health and safety sort of issue here, if I can put it that way?
Well, I think there is a health and safety aspect to it. Also, I've got other things I wanted to say really about this, and I don't want to take up too much time.
Specifically about the paths.
Sorry?
About the paths specifically.
About the paths, yeah. I'll be specific about the paths, and I'll bring the rest into any other business.
Okay.
I know Phil has tried to tackle that bit of the top bit of the diagonal path, and I've not really been. I just don't know whether it is one of these upwellings of water or it is the drainage from the former council tip, which is the north wing of the golf course, that's causing the problem with the water, because it is all iron stained right along that side. But we've got the problem of what sort of stones do we use? Because limestones are going to change the pH and the nature of the habitat. Do we go for local sandstone? We've got costings to think about that way as well. But I think a definite path defined that has sides to it would actually be a good idea, because we've got horse riders, electric bikes, bicycles, all horse riders going through.
So this would be an excellent thing to bring up with Mark, wouldn't it? And then potentially Tom Partridge as well. And if we were talking about being more proactive and getting more of our own funding on it, you know, you could do that possibly, you know, initiate a discussion with those people. I mean, I'm not suggesting, you know, you should lead that, but if you want to, that's fine. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just thinking maybe you should perhaps lobby Nick at Nelson and get him to pay into the because in the scheme of it, the amount to their budget is
it a couple of thousand?
Yeah. So it's to be honest, it's not going to be it's not going to be denting their budget much. So
you actually get more out of it if you report things with paths than you ever do pay. Trawden especially are past masters at this. Trawden Parish Council, they pay their excess and they get thousands of extra pounds on bridges and paths and all kinds of things. I just think the parish councils that don't pay into the scheme, well, they have big bills to pay if they're going to keep their footpaths up to standard.
I can understand some of the smaller parishes not paying in, but Nelson's got quite a large budget,
so everyone's in agreement that we need to do something about the paths, but we can't do all of it all at once. So it's just a question of how, when, and where do we devote our resources to first.
Can I just say, I think it is very important to sort out the paths, because there are official footpaths and other paths that should not be there, because English Nature now, one of their huge projects is actually looking at SSIs and above at the amount of disturbance that is caused by dogs and people to sacks and spars. Those are specific designations. Tony Juniper was actually on the wireless on Radio 4, I should say, talking about this, and because it is a huge problem, is disturbance.
So we need to address that perhaps by encouraging people to go down some paths and not others. I'm sorry.
But,
yeah, go ahead.
And also, I wanted to add that it does say in the management plan it is open. Open doesn't mean it's all open to everybody. Open means there is access in the terms of footpaths.
Well, this is where we get on to the review of the management plan, which is an item for what we'll deal with next. But yes, point taken. Go ahead.
Yeah, again, I think that maybe what Terry was saying, when you're saying that spend the money on footpaths, yeah, this is what always happens, people spend money on footpaths. What about the maintenance? If you want to start doing things, you have got to maintain and all that. just throw money at it and then we sit here.
Well, I think sorry, we could be. I'm quite optimistic about that. I think perhaps I'm exposing my own naivety here, but I think we can keep it going. We can raise the money, but perhaps I'm, so pleased at the success of the funding bid for Current Town Council that I'm overthinking it. Right. So, okay, we know what we're going to do with that. We're going to talk to Nick and Mark and Tom and prioritise, I think, the footpaths that need sorting, basically. But no doubt the trustees can discuss that further down the line. Right. So, yeah, under any other business, I've already talked about David Urry, but I wanted to mention one thing about the management plan and the review of that, which came up before anyway. But before we do that, does anyone else have an item of any other business? So if you start with Gina. Well, we're going to address Alison's point in a minute about the plan, aren't we? So I just wanted to make sure that there weren't any other items first.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Has anything been said recently about the potential transfer of the nature reserve to the town councils?
We have put things to the officers at Pendleborough Council. They did say that it will take them a while to work through the queries that we've sent them. As of yet, I have not heard anything back about the Gib Hill Nature Reserve. I will chase it up just to see if they can give me any kind of update. But yeah, as of yet, we've not heard. Well, to be honest, we've not heard anything
on any of them.
on any of them.
I think is there a deadline of the 31st of August or something?
Okay.
So is it going ahead for Alkincoats? I've missed a couple of their meetings, I think.
We haven't heard back about that.
We haven't heard back on that either. So it's just one of
No, I will.
Clegg's ideas.
It was, yes. But I will chase them up, see if they've got any update for me.
Okay,
Thanks. Okay, Sarah, any other business? Okay. Sorry, I don't. David?
No, nothing. I did spend quite a few hours removing redundant fencing around the old community centre and bar and stock fencing that was around some trees near this path that's very muddy. And I'll continue doing that.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Much appreciated.
Enjoy doing it, but have to work up a head of steam to get.
Yeah. Well, some great results there. I've seen the fencing you've moved and left with it built to take away. Okay. So. Oh, sorry.
I think we've all those of us that are on the WhatsApp group have watched David's massive piles. I've just cleared this. I've just cleared that. And I think we should record in the minutes, which is another job for him to do. Interestingly, a formal vote of thanks to David for his hard work there.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, please make sure you minute that. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't need them to forgive me. Mike. Yeah. Any other business? Michael, excuse me. Chris. Right, Alice. Okay, so do you want to address this issue about the plan? And
just wanted to make it clear that the LNR designation is a site-based designation. That's why all the nature reserves, local nature reserves in Pendle, were all under the control of Pendle Borough Council. It is quite legitimate to have a town council funding, and it's quite legitimate for that to happen. But all parts of the LNR have to have equal weighting when it comes to the money being spent. So you can't have the Colne money just spent on the Colne side, can't have the Nelson money spent on the Nelson side. It has to be site-based spending.
okay, Sarah.
So that is a threat, because of course I can just to sort of gameplay this, if Nelson say, well, we're going to give £3,000 or no £1,000, then it'll come to the next Cone Town Council and they'll say, wait a minute, this isn't on. So that is it is definitely a threat that effort needs to be put in to maintain that parity. Otherwise, what will happen is there'll be a side that'll just say, well, I don't want to pay more than the other people. And it's like a race to the bottom.
It's very complex, isn't it? Because if we were talking earlier about some paths that needed attention much more quickly than others, such as the one you were talking about, and if that's on one side or the other, you can see the problems that would create, because we'd be putting in a lot of time and effort onto that which needs doing, and yet it would be in someone's remit and not someone else's, and that wouldn't be that overall coverage you were talking about.
It's sort of okay as long as there is funding parity, because in different years there's going to be priority in the Cone side or the Nelson side, and I think that's accepted. But you know, we've got things like we've got a swimming scheme, haven't we, Gina? And there's been loads of talk about we're not paying for people from Fulridge to go swimming, and which is sort of rightly right, because the precept, the Cone precept payers, it's for the benefit of Cone, and Fulridge has its own precept. I'm not picking out Fulridge especially. It's also Lancashire Bridge, it's also Chawton. So it's the same sort of thing. They have to be certain that the money from the Cone precept is going for the benefit of the people of Cone, and that the same is true for Nelson.
Well, they're allowed to go into Nelson and enjoy the bits of the nature reserve that are in Nelson. You know, the Colne people aren't stopped at the border. We don't have straight up Hormuz or anything.
Yeah.
It has to be said.
Point is taken.
Yeah, the parish council, the town councillors wouldn't be happy if they were perceived to be spending money caring for a Nelson asset.
And I mean, you were saying that it is under the remit of the borough council, not the town councils. But of course, the borough council is not going to exist. It's going to be unitary, which creates another level of problem for us in terms of the complexity of the situation. I didn't mean in general. Yeah, Alison, would you care to continue?
I don't know how you actually weight. Do you weight it on the area? Because the Colne side is a bigger area. But it does say, the rules are that you have to be equally weighted if you go to parish level.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so far, I think so far all money has been spent in Colne, in the Colne area. So, and it looks like most of it will be spent in the Colne area.
So does that create an onus on us to do make sure we divert some, work time funding into the
Yeah, I mean, if you're inquiring with Nick about whether your application for a grant has been accepted successfully by Nelson Town Council, you can mention, we were thinking about putting another path in from the end of Marston Hall Road. Yeah, but we need to consult about that because.
No, it's actually very interesting because I'm thinking of how complicated it is to keep all stakeholders on board and keep all the potential sources of funding engaged, whilst having to deal with what is the law ultimately, that we have to treat the whole area equally, effectively. Sorry, Gina.
Yeah. This sort of ties in as well with the land transfer, if there is going to be one, because for anything sort of any management agreement to work, both the sides need to own the land. So we would take on the Colne part, but Nelson would have to take on the Nelson part for it to work.
Okay. I mean, I think this feeds in perfectly to what I was going to bring up anyway, which was the fact that the management plan is due for review. I believe January 2027. I asked Phil, he hasn't got back to me, but I think I was right in that dating. But it starts then. That's not a deadline, and I think the review has to be completed by 28. So we've got a whole year from January 27 to January 28, if my thinking is correct. This is exactly the sort of thing we should be talking about amongst ourselves, and then bringing to whoever else is involved, Phil obviously, but whoever's around him and his team, to try and influence the development of the management plan in a way which is beneficial for everyone, particularly for the nature reserve.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if the land doesn't get transferred to the town councils, it will just default to the new unitary authority,
Yes.
which, suddenly nothing happens, sort of thing. So, and we just continue.
Yeah, so the further the authority is from us, I expect the more difficult it will be to convince that authority to engage with something that to us is important, but to them might be peripheral. I don't know. Yeah, so can we talk about this any further elements of this whole issue of the management plan of feeding into it and trying to influence it for the review, which is why I thought it would be, the point about the pass would come in there. And I think you were saying something else before about the, well, perhaps you elaborate on that, Alison.
Yes, I would like to be able to have a review because there is no habitat action plans at all that have been taken forward to an habitat management plan. And this is why we need somebody like John Lamb who knows the field very well from all the services he has done on there. I think he should be employed. I don't think he will want to make a huge plan from what I gather from talking to him. He just wants to make sure that it is understood that you have to protect, restore, enhance as a priority for the recovery of nature. And you will notice that there are no more LNRs being designated, local nature reserves. They are now all part of the Lancashire national strategy for that. That's all part of but all the nature reserves are. And it's important to remember that it is protect, which we have in a way, we've done that, but there's still more to do.
So
Restore and enhance.
For my information, where are you quoting those priorities from? Protect, restore, enhance.
But I just wanted to say, Will, this isn't the time or the space to do it. It needs much further expansion and understanding of the biodiversity, what is known as the Biodiversity Duty Act.
I mean, all we can do here is flag it up and agree to where we're going next, really. Which makes me think this is something we need to talk about in the trustees meetings. We need to decide what we're going to try and do to bring forward to the management plan and how we're going to do it. And clearly that's a really interesting suggestion to get John Lamb on board to create a plan, a habitat management plan, which would, I suppose, with the intention would be that would be grafted onto, as it were, the management plan or influence it.
Yeah.
But that's something we can't discuss in detail now. We have to do it later because this meeting is not for that.
There was one thing I wanted to add, that Rebecca Stevens, who is the county ecologist who surveyed the site in 2010, her priority was for the removal of brambles. And no farmer will want to mow any of those fields whilst there's brambles rambling around. And the only way to get rid properly of brambles is to take out the crown of each plant. So you can imagine what a huge job it is.
Okay.
Immense.
With the management plan as well, in a big area, we've already started doing tree planting. Whereas none of your tree planting as a woodland management scheme, such as that, we might need some trees in the future to use for footpaths and fence posts. Why are you not planting woodland big use of?
Can you talk us through what that means?
Because
you just said why you're not doing it, so please explain.
Especially when it's something like this, quick growing, it's hard. In 10 or 20 years' time, you'll be able to coppice it, and you've got plenty of poles that you could use for fence poles, building fences, building footpaths. Is that not a resource you're looking to? If you've got that, surely some of your land should up to one side for you to for growing crops.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Can we do that or not?
I mean, it's nothing to do. Something you do over the next few years. It's not me.
Well, I'm not going to answer that question because I don't know. I don't know whether we can do it. Alison, you were perhaps about to say that.
I would like to point out that Rebecca Stevens, a county ecologist, called this Gib Hill Fields, and it's for the protection of the upland hay meadow
Mm.
in section 40 and 41 of the Act, and John Lamb originally advised that no trees should be being planted on Gib Hill.
So that conflicts with what you
Yeah.
Well,
suggested.
if you're already planting hedgerows, these trees could be incorporated.
But the hedgerows were already there. They've become defunct and they need replacing, because it is quite clear that historically the major part of those fields were grazed and not mown.
Right. Well, I think this is fascinating, but we can't give this the space it deserves at this
No.
meeting.
I agree.
It's a question of what we do next, and I think what we do next is at the next trustees meeting we discuss the way forward in terms of how we're going to influence the management plan and also manage the land ourselves, and whether, in other words, whether we do what you suggested or not, and why not. And that's where we, our knowledge of the law and ecology comes in, right? So
I sort of disagree with you.
okay.
I think really what we should do is get the experts on board
Absolutely.
and commission them, and then if there are discussions to be had, so for example, and I am not an expert, if you take the ash trees that are dead that are in that little stand, say that that's a discussion to be had with the experts. Just say it is.
Yeah.
Just say it is. Then at that point, the expert can say to us, we could leave this as standing dead trees for insects. We could cut it down to the ground and do hazel for posts. We could restore it to fields. Say some of these are options to consider, then at least we've got the experts giving us the steer on the options. So I just feel that we ought to, without delay, we've got the money in the bank, commission this. And then if there are any projects that naturally flow from it, it'll become apparent over the next few months.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that we have at the moment a land management plan. We have no habitat plan, and the land plan should be following that of the habitat plan, because we're trying to improve, restore and enhance the habitats, because we're part of the...
Did I get that quotation from you where remove, protect, restore and enhance originate?
Sorry?
Where does protect, restore and enhance originate from?
Still haven't heard you.
Well, you've mentioned the protection, the restoration and enhancement.
Oh, that comes from the MPPF and the guidance.
Right.
Which is what you have to do.
Yes, and can you, what's the MPPF?
It's the National Planning Policy Framework, and the MPPG is the National Planning Policy Guidance on the framework.
Right, thank you for that. That's very helpful. If we can get that minute, because I just wanted to get those priorities traced to a source so that we knew where we stood on that. That's helpful. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Sarah.
The government's completely rewriting the MPPF.
Yeah,
Goodness knows what they'll come up with next, but they are doing it.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? These things are not set in stone, which is not always advantageous.
I mean, thanks. The management committee has set out its priorities, which were in the minutes of the last meeting, really. Saying we're going to get the access to the fields sorted out, start mowing,
right,
and the information boards and stuff.
So we know what we're going to try and do. It's just a question. Do we need to do anything else as well?
Yeah, if we're wanting to enhance, we need to exclude. So it's more fencing, unfortunately. Yeah. But we need to. I mean, I've been looking. There's fencing down the side of that wood up above Andrew's house there, where the path goes, the zigzag, and then there's more old fencing along the top. I don't know whether it's the golf course this side or that side of those trees, really, but there's fencing there that could be repaired. So that's two sides of like a triangle where you could exclude dogs and have stiles or something. So I can't think of anywhere else that's easy. I mean, there's the expense of the long side of the triangle would need refencing, and then the existing fencing need repairing and some stiles putting in. But we need other areas as well where we think we could exclude dogs so that during the ground nesting season, birds aren't disturbed.
Okay.
But you know, it's not gonna. We can't do these things all at once unless somebody wins the lottery or something.
We've got about 3 minutes, so
Right.
quite obviously we're not going to
Right. Sorry.
wrap this. No, sorry, I wasn't meaning to impinge on your point. It's just that we are running out of time. So what we need to do is have a discussion, work out a date for the next meeting, which is on the agenda anyway, and I don't think we can fix that date now because there's several trustees who couldn't make it.
I was thinking perhaps we should have our next AGM in Nelson.
Ooh, yeah, great suggestion.
They'll be wondering why we're always having our AGM here and not having it in Nelson. So maybe we could have it in the Wilson room or something in Nelson.
Is that the one where they have those meetings of one story up in the town hall?
Yeah, it's a kind of particular kind of beigey greyish with chairs that look comfortable but actually are the most uncomfortable chairs. I cannot see why you'd want to make us go to the Wilson room.
Better than Briarfield Town Hall.
Yeah. Well, let's have a full discussion of this at the meeting, whose date we need to put TBA for in our minutes, because I don't want to try and fix it now because of the people who aren't here. And we need to progress all this basically. And I'm sorry, we can't do it now. There's no time. Did someone over there have their hand up? Sorry, was it you, Gina? No. Oh, right. Okay. I think it's about 30 seconds to.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah. Excellent. So we've covered a lot. Oh, I thought you meant karma in the Buddhist sense, K-I-R-M-A, you know. Yeah. Oh, I do. I know. I've got that intensity. I'm sorry. I'm very much clock driven. You know, that's the way it is. Yeah. Great. So if you could circulate the minutes when they're done, David, and we just amend them as necessary and all that the usual way. And then we'll get.
Can't we at least go out to tender to get costs for experts to do the habitat plan and the management plan?
There's no problem with doing that. I think
why don't we do that?
Because if you're sorry, Sarah, you're saying we go out to tender to get costs for doing it.
Yes, and then we can review it at the next meeting. And we've moved it along then, haven't we?
Excellent point. I mean, we could get the costs, and then if it's whatever 100 quid or whatever it is, we can approve it. You say to the expert, whoever they may be, go ahead. We are out of time now, so last point, please, Alison.
Just to say that these people will have to survey the fields, and
Exactly.
it's going to take them all year to do the surveys, whereas John Lamb knows exactly what's there already. So his costs will be much lower.
Well, we'll have to ask him that.
Yeah,
he'd be our number one choice, wouldn't he?
I mean, I assumed you included John Lamb.
Yeah. I just think we need to move it along.
Yeah, okay. Accepted. I mean, we can ask for costs. I don't think there's any objection to that.
That's agreed.
Yeah, we've agreed.
We've agreed.
Great. Okay, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'll see you all at, many of you at the trustees meeting next time, which we'll sort out in due course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.